Hi, this is Andrew Harrison. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm just going to go over basic Prussiking, or the body thrust technique, and point out some ways that will make it easier for you. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and I'm loving the comments at the bottom, so keep them coming. Thanks very much. So the equipment that you need is obviously a climbing harness, safety helmet, eye protection, a climbing line, carabiner, spliced rope in this case, and I've got a sewn Prussic loop which I'll show a close-up of later. I've got my lanyard on here in case I need to do a changeover, but that was thoroughly explained in basic climbing number 1. Right, so in the first part of this video I'm just going to show you kind of different angles of the body thrust technique. You can see here that I'm trying to get my feet as high as possible on the trunk. I've held with 2 hands on the rope, both hands below the Prussic in this case. This means that I can easily just slide the Prussic up each thrust, so there's no taking my hands off and then putting them back on. In this sequence I have one hand above the Prussic and one hand below. It does mean I can reach a little higher and pull down further with each thrust, but I have to release that top hand each time, which makes it not quite as efficient. You can see one either side of the Prussic. This is the more traditional way. Now we're going back to that original method, and you can see it just flows a little bit better, but making a note here that I really am getting my feet good and high, using those branches where I can. This from another angle with both hands below the Prussic, and the real thrust in the hips is critical for this technique. That's why they call it body thrusting, or hip thrusting some people call it. With body thrusting you're not actually pulling your full weight, because if you thrust with those hips, that's actually unweighting the rope and you're just really pulling in the slack as you go up. Body thrusting of course is a moving rope technique, which means you're only pulling half of your weight anyway. So if you're using your body well and have a good core, then you should have no trouble with this technique. From this angle you will be able to see how I lock off certain parts of my body in each part of the process. So I'll give you a still shot here, and you can see that I'm locking with my right hand good and tight. Right shoulder is also locked, and that loosens up the Prussic, so there's no actual weight on the Prussic in this locked part, so I can easily just slide the Prussic up. If there's weight on the Prussic, it's going to jam and not slide. That locking part is critical. Here is Ruby demonstrating a common method for modern tree climbing. She's got a Hitchclimber with a VT, or bodythrust, which is a variation of a French Prussic. So notice the technique is quite different. She's pulling from well above the Prussic, doing 2 pulls and then taking out all the slack. Never do more than 2 pulls, otherwise you've got too much slack in your line. She's more upright in her body position. This makes it easier in a limb walking situation, and also allows for the use of a foot ascender. As you can see, that time I was rubbing the rope straight over the branch, and as you can see there's a bit of a line there where it starts to wear, so that's why we usually put the cambium saver in. So as you can see with the cambium saver, there's no rubbing on the actual branch, but I can't get as close to the branch, and also there's more friction on the Prussic loop, which means I've got to hold tighter each time I lock before I push the Prussic up. So pros and cons, but obviously we don't want to damage the tree, so my recommendation is use the cambium saver as much as possible. P Waka Waka, right here next to me. New Zealand fantail, they like to hang around when we're climbing trees, friendly fellows. Hopefully you like this video. If you want to leave comments, suggestions, feedback, ask questions in the comments below, and yeah, see you in the next one. Thanks heaps and stay safe out there.